see her rolling up over black Cadillac, high heel boots, and a sexy body.
Actually, that's good, though. It's good for me on the edit. All right, guys. So this is going to be our first purposeful extra here because it is a social political discussion here. And this is actually brought to us via Jay, who sent us in via email and wanted our thoughts on it. Because he actually does enjoy when we talk about real things. And Ricky's not here. He did have to go. He had to go to bed because he has to get up at 3 a.m. Though Mike is here after working all damn day. So I swapped one host for another in the middle of the podcast. If you listened to the podcast proper, you would have heard that.
That's right.
That was me trying to say proper while also thinking the word normal, and it came out proper. And I'm tired too, guys. I spent all day under a car yesterday. All right, so he sent us a link to something that happened here in the lovely state of Texas, which I found interesting because I hadn't heard about this. So the headline, pregnant Texas woman fighting HOV citation claims. Basically, here's the thing. So it's a pregnant woman who's driving to, I think work was in the thing. And she got pulled over because she was taking the HOV lane. The HOV lane is for 2 or more passengers.
Yep.
So, and I think unironically, I think she's trying to make a political point here. She was claiming that she can use the HOV lane because she's pregnant and the unborn fetus, she's pretty, from what it looks like, she's actually fairly well along, does count as a person. So therefore she should use the HOV lane.
Oh, you know what? Let's for those that don't know, the HOV lane is the high occupancy vehicle
yes.
lane.
It's kind of an ironic name when it comes to being pregnant, right?
Yeah.
There's an irony in just the name of high occupancy vehicle. Now, if she was pregnant with twins, 100% counts. So yeah. Let me go through this here.
Even triplets.
All right, so triple. I didn't want to go that far, but yes. All right, so I guess there's actually a news video here, but I'm going to pause it because I don't need to have that audio playing. Don't need to run into copyright things. Okay, so the entire title of the article here on the Yahoo News, link down below if you want to check it out yourself. Says pregnant woman fighting HOV citation claims officer told her she'd win if she fought the ticket. So. Oh, this is in Plano, by the way. This is out towards central Texas, kind of central North Texas. Texas is really fucking big. Anyways, so this lady named Brandy, so she is fighting. She is currently trying to fight the citation, and I don't think she's doing it just to be a dick about it. But she did talk about it with the cops on scene, the ones that pulled her over. So, quote, I was kind of in shock. And I was like, well, in light of everything that's happened, I'm not trying to make a huge political stance here, but you do understand that this is a baby. And she said the cop basically brushed her off. And then I love this response though.
What a funny statement to make. I'm sorry.
It is a funny statement.
You do understand that this. No, I thought it was a puppy.
Okay. Well, hold on. Let's keep reading here because I do want to take a stance with this situation here because it's very interesting how she puts it. Okay, so she said she was instructed to go to a different officer who would write the citation. So like basically she had a couple officers, usually there's a couple depending on the situation, and maybe even 2 showed up or they called another one. Possible waste of resources, we'll see. It might have been a boring Thursday. So she said the first cop wouldn't write it up that way. So she went to another cop that would write it up that way, that she is pregnant, right? Right. So the way mind you, it is a quote unquote citation, which means if you write the thing that she is cited for, it could change the outcome, right? All right. So this is what it says here. The Texas Penal Code and its traffic laws don't align when considering who can and can't be recognized as a person. After the incident with this lady went viral, Texas State Rep Brian Harrison, I don't know this guy, a Republican, vowed to introduce legislation that would specifically recognize fetuses as people. But in this case, it would be too late to help her.
Right.
Now, let me finish reading. Yeah. Let me finish reading this because this is her quotes at the end here. It boiled my blood that not only did I get dismissed, she means from the cop, I didn't have a conversation about it, but but I also now just wasted my time. And if I'm going to waste my time July 20th fighting a ticket, oh, that's so funny. It's a couple days here. The feel I shouldn't have gotten. So, like, she thinks it was a waste of time, and now she's going to have to waste her own time doing this. Whereas it could have just been, look, you're pregnant. It counts. So, now, offhand, it does sound very, very silly. It does.
Yes, it does.
But it goes straight into the abortion discussion. Because in the same way, because abortion is now essentially illegal in Texas.
Yep.
Due to Roe v. Wade being overturned. So,
and rightfully so.
And here's the thing, is like most places have no legal protections towards the right of the unborn. They're not seen generally as legally persons until in most cases the birth certificate and stuff like that, because technically you don't have a name, you don't have anything like that. However, the other interesting aspect to this is if you, for whatever reason, call it a vehicular accident or just straight up an attack and or murder, and you kill a pregnant woman, you are almost always hit with a double homicide.
That's right. Exactly. Now, I was just about to say that.
So this is why this area is always not even really gray. It's like super muddled. It's a couple different colors. It's like three colors all muddled together.
It's almost like a smoke and mirrors kind of thing, right? Yeah. In a way, right? It's like, oh no. It's your right, your body. Well, the body inside you is not yours, technically. It's a separate person.
Yeah.
And if you can call it a double homicide in court, if you kill a mother with their unborn child, well, then that counts then as a person.
Yeah. So
you're admitting it's a person.
And in case you're wondering, guys, everyone hears homicide, they automatically think murder. Technically, murder is done with a specific intent, and there are levels to it. When it comes to homicide, it just means a human died.
Yeah.
So a vehicular homicide technically could count if you died in your own car accident by yourself.
Yep.
So nobody killed you. You just died. Homicide just means a person died. So to call it, if you want to say that an unborn fetus died because of someone else's action, and the mother died too, I should say, it is a double homicide. In most places, there's a lot of places where they don't care one way or the other, or it's very finicky, just depending on the situation, because a lot of people conflate murder and or homicide. Now, without getting into the specific beliefs on abortion, in this case, the fact that this one rep is pushing to have the unborn recognized as people legally for all legal purposes is very interesting, because just a couple months ago, Louisiana tried to claim that if anyone killed an unborn child, it would be classified as homicide. Period.
There you go.
No matter what the cause of death might be.
Right.
And unfortunately, it did not pass. I say unfortunately because I believe that there should be some laws protecting the unborn, depending on where you start it. So, like, if you say that, okay, the last trimester period can't do anything unless extreme circumstances, fine. But even if you just say it's a human from the get-go, whether it's just a few cells together, or you're at a 6-week heartbeat bill kind of situation, which has happened in many places, including Texas, which they say it's a heartbeat bill and just an average of 6 weeks, just depending, because there's a whole situation that just happened up in Ohio that has become a huge brouhaha. Look into that if you haven't. With someone going out of state to do something that's illegal in their current state, blah, 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 blah. But this is a very interesting concept, especially here in Texas. Like, I get it, we're a big conservative state, but there is a very large blue area as well. There's a lot of liberals here in Texas, especially in and around the Capitol. But this woman did a silly thing.
Yeah.
And I get it, because that is a silly thing, but she brought up a very real political point in doing the thing, even to the point she said it. It's like, I don't really want to be, if she believed in her heart and mind, like truly like not just being a jackass and being a smartass, if she truly believed that what she was doing
Was right.
was literally transporting two people. Now, don't get me wrong. There's
exactly.
Now, I'm going to say this as a person who lives in Texas and actually uses the HOV lane sometimes by myself. There's a lot of people who just use the HOV lane because there's some bullshit HOV lanes which are just literally a white line on the pavement. There's no separation. Especially on I-45. If you remotely know the area, you will know what I'm talking about. People will just use it as an exit lane, a passing lane, whatever. That's the fast lane. And then sometimes, it'll just be me and the wifey, and we'll take the HOV lane because it's 2+, right?
Exactly.
So in her case, if she truly believes that the baby inside her, mind you, she's really pregnant in the photo. Like go down to the link, you'll see the photos of her. She's really pregnant. Like, yeah, there is a baby in there. But I mean, like, and then once again, it comes down to the discussion of when is it a baby? When is it a real person? Because if she's taking the HOV lane and she's at like 8 months, 3 weeks, right?
Yeah.
Versus someone who had their baby a week early and has it in the back of the car. So does that person with a baby carrier in the back and, one adult, one baby in the back and their baby carrier or baby seat, whatever you want to call it, does that person get to use the HOV lane? And there's a real question. This isn't being a jackass. Because if that persons at this point, can legally use the HOV lane, then where is the distinction? And that does come into a lot of these, especially the late term abortion laws, where I'm just going to say it outright. I don't want to talk about the rest of it, but late term abortions are bullshit. That's just
totally.
That's just murdering something that can survive on its own, essentially. And don't get me wrong, I know all the excuses, and I believe in very, very limited reasoning. Very limited. I said I wasn't going to get into it, but I am. But for the legal sake of it, maybe in this case of traffic law, maybe there should be a limitation, but it's going to have to be a limitation that you have previously set up.
Yeah, Yeah, there's going to have to be, I would say there would have to be probably in this case a certain type of limitation. Like, if you're X amount of months pregnant, say probably from your,
but
let's say hypothetically, from your second to third trimester, okay, you can use the HOV lane. Sure. Because you know what? Let's say there's a complication and you have to go in, have a premature birth or something like that. I can see using the HOV lane because you got to get somewhere faster.
Well, I will say in most cases, the HOV lane, you get locked in.
Well, yeah,
sometimes. So like if it's, so that might not be a great case. However, in the case of emergencies, I agree with that, because sometimes, people will be driving like crazy to get to the hospital, know, and they'll get pulled over and then they realize, oh, I have a medical emergency, and the cops will help.
Exactly.
And I will say, just in case for anybody who has these issues, say you have that problem, you need to call your local sheriff's office and let them know, because like I don't say that, I say that unironically, because in some cases, if you haven't, they might be able to help you out and actually give you an escort.
An escort.
An escort would be, if you're not going to call an ambulance, that is. So you're by yourself and you got to do a thing or whatever. Now, what I was just thinking, what you were talking about, there might be another reason to use a HOV lane for that reason, because and I would say probably most things, I have no numbers to say this, it's just my experience, the HOV lane tends to be safer because there's less traffic in it.
True.
So if there's less people in it, in theory, there should be less potential for accidents. And if you're worried about the safety of the unborn, in this case,
there you go.
That would make sense. I mean, once again, we're stretching, but we're finding the reasoning that you could even make this a legal thing.
Well, true.
But it is where, okay, so like we talked about earlier with the concept of the homicide.
Yeah.
If you're going to call it a homicide, if that mother and child die at the same time, then the death of said thing is what now makes it a human.
Yep.
Because in the other aspects, you don't consider it a human.
That's right.
So
Only when
that's where the laws get really strange. So I'm
Well,
on
yeah.
board with somebody finally putting a foot down and saying where the line
Is drawn.
of humanity is.
Exactly.
Now,
Exactly.
because a
See,
lot
because for years they've always tried to, how should I put it? Try to make it.
they
I got to word this properly. They A lot of people have always used for quite a few years now the word fetus,
yes,
right? Which technically it is.
but you know
There's no argument about that. But you know what? Along with that comes almost a certain disconnect,
it is.
like that humanitarian disconnect, right? It's a baby. Why not just say baby? Oh well, no, but we're just using the scientific term because that's what it is. But
Well, well,
but
here's the
there ends up
problem.
being a disconnect.
Well, you know what the problem with that
And
is? Hold on, I'll
yeah,
stop you for just a second. They're
okay,
missing the one word that goes in front of that.
yeah,
Human.
human.
Because anything that
Exactly.
reproduces has fetuses. So
That's
it's
right.
not like fetus is a species.
Yep.
Fetus is just a stage of development of anything. So it's like
Precisely.
you don't have a horse fetus in you.
Yes.
You
No,
have
that's
a
right.
human
You
fetus.
you have a human fetus.
So whether
So why did you just say human fetus? Well, because
because then you have to say it's human.
exactly.
And if it's
Because then you
human, you
have to
can't
make the
kill it.
connection.
Yeah.
That's right. Now
So
you have to now you're putting a quote unquote a face to it,
yeah.
right?
So
You're making that connection that there's a human life inside me, not just some, a clump of cells
that's what they
that's
always say,
just,
lump of
you know,
cells.
well, exactly. Well, then you
I'm
know
just a
what?
lump of cells too, right?
Well, yeah, currently right
I
now
just
I
happen to be
am.
shaped into a certain thing.
That's right.
I mean,
Right. I'm not.
look at it this way: if someone, and not to be, well, I guess to be graphic at this point, if someone is sitting on top of a stick of dynamite, they also will become a lump of cells in a very quick manner. But there'll be a
Precisely.
lot of lump of cells over there, over there, over there.
Well,
But they're technically no longer human at that point. They have no potential to become not a lump of cells. So like
yeah.
this is the main problem with the whole discussion about whether the thing growing inside you is not even that it's alive, but that it is considered something that should be spared or something that should be allowed to live, so to speak.
Yeah.
Because, and a lot of people would argue against it, is like, well, there's potentiality.
Well,
it's not
everybody
like,
has potentiality.
but it's not like a grown person that literally has no more growth potential.
Well,
It's something that it literally is at its beginning and will become something.
yeah.
So it's like that's the problem where they say like, well, it's not a human yet, and be like, okay, so like we're saying with this
So
law,
then at what stage does it become human? Well,
exactly.
I'm
So
sorry, it has
that's
human DNA. That's why it's growing into a human being.
yeah, it can't not grow into a human. I mean, like that's
Well,
the thing.
exactly,
It's
right?
like
It's
what
not
else
like
could it
it's going
be?
to turn into a lungfish or something
I mean,
like that.
while we have CRISPR technology, it's not that great yet. So it's
No,
like until we can make ourselves become a lizard inside the womb,
that's
we're
right.
still going to end up a human eventually. Now, I will
Well,
say
yeah,
this. I will say this. Just side note because I mentioned it, and I know you got to go soon. CRISPR technology, which is the ability to manipulate the DNA to do other things with it, which is
yeah,
fantastic technology when it's used to prevent cancers or keep any developmental issues out, stuff like that. So
yeah,
I'm on board for using that technology to prefix, so to speak, any issues within the womb. I'm on
yeah,
board for that, especially in early stages. So, like for instance, with not to get too personal, but with me and Miss Shoki, any kid she has a much greater chance of carrying on any of her diseases, such as her lupus or
mm,
things like that. And both of
yeah,
us have high cancer probability due to our family, not to mention just humans in general. But
right.
with CRISPR technology, so they develop it a little bit further, they can literally go dink dink and fix those broken genes
Yeah,
before anything can really develop. Or
right.
for instance, and this isn't to say anything terrible about these people, but CRISPR technology could stop Down syndrome entirely.
Yeah,
So they could fix those chromosomal issues potentially in utero. So like, and it's not to say anything bad about Down syndrome people, but
No,
we know
no.
where it comes from, and we could, in theory, fix it before it ever happens. But
Yep.
this is also still saying that we're still going to have humans. And I don't believe in like customizing your child. Like I want them to have blue eyes, or I want them to have
Yeah,
blonde hair. I
exactly.
want them to be 6'5".
Children.
I don't believe in designer children, but I do believe in the medical
Because
aspects
then
of
you
helping.
might as well just believe in the Ubermensch.
Exactly. No, I'm not on board with that.
No.
I'm on board with making sure that a baby can be as healthy as possible and have its best chance at life without any issues, especially if going in, if you know that you're going to have issues. Like, and once again, I know you got to go here in a minute, but like for a friend of mine, their first child was born with born with spina bifida.
Right.
And in utero, there was nothing they could tell anything was going wrong. It wasn't until she was born. Now, if they could do amniotic fluid tests or DNA tests or something like that, which I know they do, in the womb now. If they could have seen like, oh, hey, this is going to be an issue. Your daughter may never have the ability to walk properly.
Right.
Would you like to go ahead and fix that now and not and spare her a life of this, what's the word? Disability.
Debilitating.
Like,
physical deformity.
Yeah. I mean, like, and don't get me wrong, she's fine other than the fact that she just can't walk,
Right.
And there were some minor issues growing up, just having to make sure her health was on board and until she developed properly, because there were some issues very early on. But like I said, other than the inability to walk, she's good, and she can with a walker, but not great. She's not going to get up and run with her brother.
Yeah,
or
but it's not
like
like
that.
She's going to be
exactly
doing
exactly.
For the rest of her
So
life.
like
exactly.
But I don't know if whenever her mom was pregnant with her, if she would have been able to drive in the HOV lane legally. So it's funny how a dumb situation could have true legal ramifications for how we treat the unborn.
Yep.
And in and of itself, like I said, dumb, stupid beginnings. Now, mind you, this legislation, one way or the other, has been thrown out there for a while. Like, where do we draw the line? And some people want to say straight up conception. Some people want to say second trimester or whatever stage of development that we can literally pinpoint. Okay, cool. This is it. And then that sets your abortion limits.
Yeah.
Because anything past this point that you've now declared this is a human, you better have a damn good reason.
Exactly.
Which is where we're already at. We're already at the damn good reason stage. We just haven't gone, this is definitely a human. So it's an interesting conversation that Jay brought up. I did not hear about this article, despite all the stuff that I do follow, where I, see all these kind of discussions. And it happened in Texas, and I didn't hear about it. So,
yep,
and it's pretty funny. So,
if you don't want to have a kid, wrap your wiener, close your legs, and wait for Mr. Right or Mrs. Right.
Actually, just go get a vasectomy so that you can get a free hot dog.
There you go.
You've heard about this, right? This is the thing that's happening. They're offering free food in exchange for proof of vasectomy in some places. I'm like, no, I'm good. I don't need to go in there and have my vas deferens snipped to go get a free burger or to go get a free ice cream cone. No, thanks. I don't need to go have surgery.
That's right.
I'm good.
Give me the whole family meal deal.
Yeah, it's like, if I'm going to have a vasectomy, it's because I'm going to be done having kids, not because I haven't had kids yet. And I don't want to. And I don't care if it's the irreversible treatment. You still have to have someone go into your ball sack and move stuff around. And I'm not keen on this.
I'm not exactly comfortable with that. No, I'm sorry.
Like, especially since, it's like, imagine if I did that at 25. It's like, I don't want to have kids yet, but I want to be able to fuck everybody. It's like, no, I'm good.
That's right.
It would be
you put your dick in and it explodes or something, with whatever's going around nowadays.
That's only when someone sneezes.
That too. Yeah.
So. Yeah, exactly. So that'll be the end of this extra, guys. Thanks for listening. And I want to say leave your comments or write into us, but I'm terrified at the responses we're going to get because this is a hefty-ish topic.
I'm not. I
know Mike
doesn't see care. Them.
So, guys, you can write in at NowYouMadeItAwkwardMail@gmail.com, much like Jay did to give us this question in the first place, or you can leave a comment in the YouTube thing down below. But make sure you don't yell at us in curse words because YouTube will automatically flag that. And then, actually, if you just say abortion, it might flag it. So I don't know. Figure it out. Either way,
we'll find out now. That
like it'll be interesting to hear y'all's responses to this strange, but interesting situation with this lady. So
yeah.
And I do kind of hope she gets a ticket dismissed, mostly because tickets are annoying, and just
true
for something that it would all. And I'll say this: if there was nobody in the HOV lane and she was using it, no crime was committed.
Yeah.
If it's a crowded ass HOV lane and she's in there, fine. You know, it's like, give her a ticket because there's no necessary reason she was in there if it's crowded. Now she's just taking up space like everyone else.
Whatever doesn't kill me makes me stronger.
That's not true. She's not the Joker.
Yeah, maybe.
Yep.
Okay.
All right, guys. See you later.
Later.
I see her rolling up, Uber black Cadillac, high heel boots and a sexy body full of tats.